game of the regular season. So if
All right. Welcome in. Mount Polumbus Speaks. We're going to talk field goals tonight, and you guys probably are not going to like my take. I'm going to tell you that up front. Alex Forsyth is public enemy number one in the state of Colorado right now. But has his performance been as bad as people have been making it out to be? Let's get it out there first things first. Yeah, he lost the game. Yes, he had very poor technique against the Kansas City Chiefs on a play, okay? But before I dive into it, I'm just going to cut to the chase right now. Everybody that's out there circulating all these clips of Alex Forsyth getting knocked on his ass, and yeah, he got knocked on his ass a lot over the course of the season. You don't know ball. You don't know ball. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If you think that a tight end on field goal protection does not get knocked on his ass 9 out of 10 times, you're wrong, okay? So I'm not here to tell everybody how they're supposed to feel. I'm not here to try to justify what happened at the end of the game. Alex Forsyth got beat, but he didn't get any help from his buddy Matt Pert, I'll tell you that much. Matt Pert did not give Alex Forsyth any help. Look, here's how it works, okay? I'm going to break down some field goal information that you guys probably never thought you needed to know, but you actually probably are interested right now because it just lost the Denver Broncos football game. Look, when you play the tight end position, it is the most thankless job on a football field. The most thankless job on a football field used to be in the wedge on kickoff return. Well, there's no wedge anymore. That's gone. The most thankless job on a football team now is on field goal protection, playing the tight end position. Your job is to take on 3 guys and somehow pray that you don't fall fast enough that you get the field goal blocked, okay? I played this position my entire career. Most times they put tackles at that position, not guards and centers, because you want guys with long length. Because what you have to do, you have to get down low, you stick your arms out wide, and you get in an iron cross, okay? You get in an iron cross. By the way, you like the old school D right there? You like the old school D? I like that thing too. That was actually a free giveaway. I was doing a watch party with Steve Foley this weekend, and they were giving away these t-shirts for free. Loved it. You got to get in an iron cross, all right? You got to get down low. You don't get to punch. You don't get to put your hands on anybody. You put your arms out wide. You get your pads down low, and you try to take on 3 dudes, okay? Matt Pert was playing the wing position. The wing's job, he's got to help you on the inside before he bails out to the edge rusher who's trying to beat you around the corner. Matt Pert, on that play, goes straight outside, leaves a vacancy for this 3rd guy. So now Alex Forsyth, he's sitting there going iron cross, trying to block 3 guys on 1 without even an ounce of help from the outside, and he's allowing a free rusher on the inside, Matt Pert, because he's not blocking inside out, okay? I'm not here to defend the play. The play was bad, all right? Alex Forsyth did not use technique that was good. Alex Forsyth got knocked on his ass way too fast. Matt Pert did not help him. It was a disaster of epic proportions that will take us all a very, very long time to try to heal from. Okay, that's one of those games that we will remember the rest of our lives, unfortunately, and we are not going to remember it for all the good reasons. And that's a bummer because there was a lot of good things that went on in that game. But what I'm here to do is I want to tell you guys that all those clips that are circulating of Alex Forsyth and other games, it's a bunch of BS, okay? People that are circulating that, thinking that Alex Forsyth wasn't doing his job are wrong, okay? I had a coach tell me one time when I was playing that position, you're going to die playing this position. Your goal is to die slowly. That's the goal, okay? You're going to die, but you got to die slowly. In other words, you're going to get knocked on your ass. But you got to get knocked on your ass as slowly as you possibly can to pray that nothing bad happens. So yeah, Alex Forsyth got knocked on his ass a bunch because that's what happens when you play the tight end position to the field side of field goal protection. You get knocked on your ass. So I got empathy for the dude because although he did not get the job done. And yes, he lost the football game. Well, between him and Matt Pert, the combination of them did. But he's getting roasted right now all over the place because people are putting together all these clips and they just don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't. And people on Twitter right now don't want to hear it. And they're all ticked off at me. Oh, Tyler, quit trying to defend the indefensible. Look, man, you don't know ball. You don't know what the situation is. And if you wanted to talk to people that do know ball, they're going to tell you exactly what I'm saying. I just told you what my coach told me, that your goal is to die slowly. Well, turns out Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce on their podcast, they talked about this exact subject an entire year ago. And they used verbiage that was identical to the verbiage that my coach told me. I told my story on my show 2 days ago. Anybody that was listening would know that I said this before I found this video. Somebody sent, we've got great listeners on PhD over there on Altitude 92.5, and somebody found this clip here of Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce talking about the situation. They used the exact same verbiage that I discussed. If you don't believe me, maybe you'll believe the Kelce brothers.
Let's talk about the most unselfish guy on the team, because really it's neither one of us. The most unselfish guy on the team, hands down, are the tight ends on field goal.
100%.
Their jobs are literally take your right hand and you grab the thigh pad.
Die slow, homie.
Grab the thigh pad of this guy. Take your other hand, punch out to expose your entire chest. And then oftentimes 3 people just barrel through you and you're not allowed to do anything. You can't lean. You can't move your arm and open a gap. Otherwise, that thing's getting blocked.
You just got to die slow. You got to absorb everybody as slow as possible. And literally 99% of field goals, that tight end is on his back, just getting pounded into the ground by 3 people.
When the coaching point is die a slow death, you know you're in for a rough assignment.
Sounds similar to what I was telling you guys. I hope you guys can hear that. That's actually the first time that I've tried to play a clip with this new recording software that I use. So hopefully that all came out good and clean and you could hear everything I was trying to say. But pretty amazing to hear those guys use the exact same vocabulary that I use in trying to describe that job. It's a thankless job, dude. And every special teams coach will tell you that your job is to die slowly. It's a tough job. And look, everybody's so ticked off. Everybody needs somebody to blame. And I understand it. You're angry. You want somebody to yell at. But I feel bad. I've got empathy for Alex Forsyth. I've got empathy for the dude. You play this game long enough, you're going to get humbled. And Alex Forsyth has balled out when he was filling in at center for the last few weeks for Luke Wattenberg, to the degree that I wondered if they were actually going to name him the full-time starter. I've got a lot of empathy for the dude because I've been there. I've been in bad situations. I've given up a blocked field goal. It sucks, man. You feel the weight of the team on your shoulders. I've never had a moment quite as bad as that one, but I've been there. And for everybody that's circulating this stuff, stop. Because you don't know what you're talking about. You're going to get knocked on your ass. You don't believe me? You don't believe Jason Kelce? Well, that's not the one I wanted to show. Maybe you'll believe Joel Dreesen, okay? Joel Dreesen's a great buddy of mine. Joel responded to my tweet. He said, well stated, playing tight end and wing on field goal and PAT is a thankless job, especially when 2 to 3 defenders attack gaps at the same time. You have to eat the charge and not get flat back so quickly that the snap, hold, kick, time is fast enough to beat any block attempt. These are guys that know football.
Let's talk about.
These are guys that know football that are telling you that Alex Forsyth ain't as bad as you think. So it sucks, man. It really, really sucks because the Broncos had a chance to win that game. It should have been. I almost said Drew Lock. Would that have been a bad omen? I caught myself though. It should have been Bo Nix's welcome to the NFL moment in terms of, hey, I'm here. I can play with the big dogs. Bo Nix stepped up to the plate when he needed to. Look, they had 0 offense in the second half. They had like 53 total yards of offense in the second half, and 43 of them ish, give or take, came in that final drive. So they sucked in the second half offensively, but hey, give credit to our guy, Bo. He stepped up and he delivered one of the most beautiful drives in a clutch situation that we've seen in a long time here in Broncos country. I'm not sure where you guys are at with Bo Nix. I've learned a few things about Bo Nix. He's not afraid of a pressure-filled moment, and I've been leaning in that direction for a long time now, but now we know. Now we know the dude ain't going to fold in the biggest moments of a game. He's got a long ways to go, and he's got to figure out how to play a full game. But he's a rookie that's trying to figure things out. His pocket presence is terrible. He gave up a couple sacks that were outrageous in that game. One of those where he ran backwards for like 17 straight yards. Man, you can't do it. Bo's got a bad habit, catching that ball and running backwards and getting out of that pocket. You're putting your offensive line in a very dangerous situation. That's when holding penalties happen. That's when sacks happen. That's when fumbles happen. That's when interceptions happen. When you don't trust an NFL pocket, that's when bad things happen to your quarterback or happen to the people that are trying to protect your quarterback. So Bo's got to get better in terms of pocket presence. He's got to figure out how to play a start-to-finish game. But how many times have we seen this season Bo Nix come to life in the fourth quarter? I hate the whole Tebow conversation because obviously Bo Nix is nothing like Tim Tebow, but the experience has been pretty crazy similar to the degree of suck, explode in the fourth quarter. Holy crap, how did that happen? I don't know. That must have been divine. That's been the experience with both of these guys so far. And I got faith in Bo Nix. He's going to figure it out, but I don't know that we're there yet. I've been around this game too long. Everybody assumes because you've got a few good things going that you're going to figure it out. And there's a lot of quarterbacks that had terrible rookie years. Jared Goff is one of them. They highlighted it on Sunday Night Football. Jared Goff's rookie year was terrible. And then he figured it out in year 2, and by year 3, he was in a Super Bowl. Well, for every Jared Goff that figured it out in year 2, there's probably 8 other quarterbacks that did not figure out in year 2. So I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, I know that Bo Nix is going to be the dude forever, but I feel very cautiously optimistic, and I'm an offensive lineman by nature. I am mostly a glass is half empty type of guy. So for me to say that means that I very legitimately have cautious optimism. I'm not all the way there with the guy, but the biggest thing is he's not going to fold under pressure, and that's huge. The Broncos' playoffs odds are going down by the day, and everything comes down to this Atlanta Falcons game. If they don't beat the Falcons, they're not going to make the playoffs. Of course, there's a path to the playoffs, even if they lose to the Falcons. But if you can't beat this Falcons team, you're not going to beat the remaining teams that you feel like you should. The Falcons are a similar team to the Broncos, quite frankly. The Falcons are a type of team that can beat anybody on any given Sunday, and they're also liable to lose to anybody. They just lost to the Saints last weekend, so clearly they could lose to a handful of teams. But you got to find 5 more wins, right? And you've got the Raiders, you got the Browns, you got the Colts. I would say you got a great chance of winning all 3 of those games. And then you got the Chargers, Bengals, and Chiefs to finish out the season. Not an easy stretch to finish out things, including that Chargers game. Maybe the Chiefs game, cross your fingers, hope and pray. They've locked up that number 1 seed and they sit down all their starters and they don't play any of them. Maybe that one gets a little bit easier. But if you don't win this game against the Falcons, well, yeah, now it's ugly, man. Now you got to win 5 out of your last 6 games. And the odds of that are very, very low. So this is an enormous game for the Denver Broncos. I don't love it. The Falcons are a good team. Everybody that knows me knows I'm like the Kirk Cousins super fan number 1. And so I'm always worried about Kirk Cousins, but I'll tell you this, the dude doesn't have a whole lot of mobility left at this point in his career. And this Broncos defensive line should get after Kirk. The problem is, despite not having mobility, Kirk knows how to get rid of the football. So the defense is so good for the Broncos right now that they're going to give you a chance. It's going to be up to Bo Nix to learn how to play a complete football game if the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. It's going to be impossible to not feel let down if the Broncos don't make the playoffs this year, because we got to the midway mark of the season and it looked like we were going to be on easy street. Well, everybody kept telling me that Ravens game wasn't important, that Chiefs game wasn't important. You feel like they're important now if you want to make the playoffs? Hell yeah, they are. You got to win your home games. You got to split on the road if you're going to make it into the playoffs. And now you got to make up a few games on the road based off where they're at right now. If they don't make the playoffs, it's not the end of the world. Of course it's not. It would still be a very productive season if we got to the end of the year and Bo Nix was just playing great football. It's always been about Bo. This entire season has always been about Bo. But the season has been better than what we expected, so now we've all got playoff aspirations. So keep a close eye on this game this weekend for the Atlanta Falcons. If you're out there still dogging Alex Forsyth, sending nasty things to him, the dude's getting death threats. He literally is. I hope you stop. I hope you got a little bit educated there on what field goal protection is, and I hope you understand now that it is normal, 100% normal to get knocked on your ass. I played the position my entire career. I got knocked on my ass all the time on that play. So just have a little empathy for the dude. I know everybody's ticked off and everybody wants somebody to blame, and I understand that, but just understand the context of the position. All right, let's move over to the Colorado Buffaloes, because whatever bad stuff happened this weekend with the Broncos, it has been all positivity out there in Boulder. Okay, Buffs go down to Lubbock and Tortilla Gate. They're throwing tortillas the whole game. The crowd's getting out of control. The game got feisty at the end. Both teams were getting unsportsmanlike penalties, taunting penalties. The crowd almost got kicked out of the game. The student body section almost got kicked out of the game because they couldn't stop throwing tortillas and water bottles and whatever else they could get their hands on. And Colorado, when it got chaotic, Colorado started to thrive, because that's who the Buffs are, man. Deion Sanders thrives in college football because college football is anarchy and chaotic. And Deion Sanders thrives in chaos. And this Colorado Buffaloes football team, they've taken on the identity of their head coach. They thrive in chaos. They thrive when it gets chippy out there. When people start talking, they thrive. So the Buffs go down to Lubbock. They handle their business. And before that game even ends, the most important thing happened. Well, the most important thing is the Buffs got to win every game. But the second most important thing was that Iowa State had to lose one of their remaining games. And looking at their schedule, you're like, well, damn, Iowa State was just like the number 7th ranked team in the country a couple weeks ago. They lose to, gosh dang it, who did they lose to? Was it Kansas State last weekend? I forget who they lost to last weekend. But then they're playing Kansas this weekend. Kansas only has 2 wins. The University of Kansas kicked Iowa State's ass this weekend. And that was going on just right before the Colorado Buffaloes game. So I'm keeping an eye on that, and I see Iowa State's getting their ass kicked, and the stars have frickin' aligned for them Buffaloes. The Buffaloes are in control of their destiny in terms of trying to make the college football playoffs.
Yo, it's official. Colorado controls their own destiny. Y'all realize that Colorado was picked to finish 11th in the Big 12 before the season started, and now they easily will get to the Big 12 championship game and thus the college football playoffs. With Iowa State losing to Kansas and Kansas State having lost last week, Colorado now has 1 loss in the conference. BYU has no losses in the conference. Colorado solidified as the 2nd best team in the Big 12. The top 2 teams in the Big 12, they go to the Big 12 championship game. So what this means, simply put, so long as Colorado wins out and they have no remaining top 25 teams on their schedule, as long as they win out, they're in the Big 12 championship game versus BYU. And if they beat BYU, then they are guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff. Imagine a world where Deion Sanders gets to look at all his haters and say, in my 2nd season in Colorado, I made it to the playoffs. Who is laughing now? Shout out to the Buffs. But look, Colorado.
All right. In year 2, Deion Sanders has the Buffs in control of their destiny with 3 games to be played. Okay? They play Utah this weekend. Utah's been struggling, and I'm worried about this Utah game, not so much because of the Utes. They've obviously had a down year, but I'm worried about the Utah game because it's a 10 a.m. start. The Buffs have been playing all these games at 8 o'clock or later. They are accustomed to playing night games. All of a sudden, you got a 10 a.m. start. It sucks, dude. I used to hate playing in Kansas City because you'd have that 11 a.m. start here, the Mountain Standard Time start time at least, and that sucks on your body clock. I hated playing in Kansas City way more than I hated playing on the East Coast because I had a chance to catch up, but my body would just catch up easier on the East Coast than it would for the early start time in Kansas City. So the Buffs have got to get their internal clocks rolling. It's not an easy task. When you get up, well, first off, when you've been playing games at 8 o'clock, you lay around all day. You got routines, what you eat, how many times you eat, the food, all of it, man. And all of a sudden you're getting up and you're eating lunch for breakfast at 6 a.m. So it's not an impossible task, but it just puts them out of their rhythm, and it concerns me a little bit. But if you take a step back from the optimistic point of view here, dude, you got Utah who's struggling. You got Kansas, who is now a 3-win football team. And yes, I'm a little bit worried about them because they just destroyed Iowa State, but they are a 3-win football team. And then you've got Oklahoma State to finish off the season. Oklahoma State was supposed to be like a national championship contender, and they are garbage this year. So you've got 3 very, very winnable games to get into the Big 12 championship. You win all 3 of them, and you will in all likelihood be facing off against BYU, a top-tier team, and you win that game, you're in the playoffs. Simple as that. There is a path that Colorado could make to the playoffs, even if they lose the Big 12 championship game. It's unlikely, but there is still a path to make it to the playoffs if you lose the Big 12 championship game. You win the Big 12 championship game, and you are guaranteed to be in. And based off of what has been going on with the Buffs, depending on what rankings you look at, I think the highest one I saw was like 16 or something. They keep winning games. They will in all likelihood get a bye if they win that game. It's not guaranteed that they would get a bye. There's a huge part of me that kind of hopes that they don't get the bye, because if you get a bye, you play your first game in the playoffs at a BCS bowl, at old BCS sites, right? So all the former BCS bowl games, that's where round 2 of the playoffs is being played. The first round of the playoffs, if the Buffs were in that, Folsom Field, Boulder, Colorado, would be hosting a playoff game in year 2 of the Deion Sanders experience. Can you imagine how electric that environment would be in Boulder? Yes, it's easier to make it to the national championship game if you get the bye, but man, I kind of want that experience up there in Boulder. I can only imagine how expensive the tickets would be. I can only imagine. They would be outrageously expensive. They've been the most expensive ticket in town already. If they get the playoffs experience up there, man, you're probably looking at $500 just to get into the nosebleeds. To get decent tickets, you're probably looking at a couple $1,000s. Got a lot of good things going on, man. Buffs got it rolling. Broncos got a fighting chance of making the playoffs. Nuggets and Avs are cruising now. They both kind of had some ebbs and flows there early on in the season. Nuggets are doing great. The young guys are clicking. Nikola Jokic is just give him the MVP again. Everybody said he can't win it again. Just give it to him again. So there's a lot of good stuff going on, despite the fact that Alex Forsyth got knocked on his ass and the Denver Broncos gave up one of the most heartbreaking field goal blocks in your memory bank. There's still a lot of good stuff going on here in Denver. That was probably way more in-depth field goal knowledge than you ever wanted or knew that you needed. But I thought it was important that people that know ball step up and defend the young man a little bit, okay? Because it's a tough job, and we've all been there. We've all gotten our asses kicked. All right. I've not put out the all 22 yet of the game. I usually try to have that out by Tuesday. I apologize. I haven't gotten to that yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow. So if you guys tune in tomorrow, I'll do the all 22 of the Chiefs game. We'll just do the Broncos. You can find it on YouTube if you don't catch it live. Everybody that's watching right now, I appreciate you guys. If you could please do me a favor, head over to YouTube right now and hit subscribe. That would be doing me a huge favor. I'm really, really trying hard to build up my subscribers over there on YouTube right now, because that's where I'm going to feature the majority of my content. So I'm not doing all my stuff live. If you're watching this on Twitter right now, I don't do all my stuff live. I put a bunch of stuff straight out there onto YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to YouTube, you're missing a ton of my content. I've done breakdowns on Quinn Miners, on a bunch of different people. All 22. I do pregame scouting reports. I do postgame reports, and then I do all 22. So all kinds of great content over there from Mount Polumbus. The link is in my bio on Twitter, if that's where you're watching right now. And until tomorrow, when